What's going on, everybody? David Feldman-Makrias here again, bing, bang, boom. And rather than talk about all that Google nerdy stuff that we usually talk about, which we'll get back to, we're going to talk about something a little bit different today. The 5 most valuable tips that I've learned from starting, running, and maintaining a business. So these 5 tips are not only extremely valuable, but we've also put them in order, so that when you apply them or everything that we've taken and we've learned from their applications, you know which ones to focus on first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And we can think of these more as pillars, right? You've reached certain milestones or pillars in order to get to certain points. So if this content resonates with you, of course, I encourage you to like, comment, subscribe. I love it. The algorithm loves it, and we all abide by the algorithm. Okay, anyways. So let's get into it first and foremost. The first thing, the 5 in order, right? And I'm gonna help fine tune a couple of these steps as we go. So the 5 in order, first one is massive action. Where I got this from is Grant Cardone. And basically, whatever you want to do, or whatever you think you want to do, you need to just dump a massive amount of action towards that. So if it's your business and you have an inclination to want to, create social media, stories or Instagram reels, well, guess what? The more that you can do of that, the better. You should create as many as freaking possible in a day. If your business is about selling online or developing an e-commerce brand or, creating a service agency or, I was just talking to somebody, being an affiliate, you need to spend as much time as possible, not just consuming content. Okay. And I'm going to write that in here. I got this from Grant Cardone, by the way, but applying it to creating a business, specifically like an online business, you don't want to just consume content. You need to act. Don't just consume information. It's good to consume information, but honestly, I think if you look at, successful people, probably, 80% of their results when they get to the top are from action, where 20% is from consuming information. Is it good to consume information? Absolutely. You got to stay abreast of what the top people are doing in your field, or the top, people that you look up to as far as where you want to be. Yes, you want to know what they're doing. However, you have to act. That's number one. So, and that can be anything. There are no limits to this stage, okay? No limits to this stage. One thing I found myself here, no limits to this stage as far as type of action. One thing I found myself doing a lot of, especially with my engineering degree, is I would try and think out the entire situation. Like, what exactly should I act on? What's going to be the exact right things? Well, in the beginning, you really have no clue. You just have to kind of go do it. And then it's almost like anybody that's played a video game, right? I think of Battlefield or Call of Duty because I used to play those back in the day. And when you go play a video game or any game, are you obsessing about the instructions, about the manual? Maybe you read it a little bit in the beginning, or maybe you watch some YouTube videos or whatever. But then what do? You just start playing the game. And in the beginning, you're kind of bad, right? You're just learning. You're pressing the wrong buttons. You're doing some of the right things and then the wrong things. But then over time, you get a little bit better. So massive action, you got to treat it like the same. It's a game. You want to just take as much action as you possibly can towards something. And it doesn't have to be the exact right thing to do either. Humans are pretty smart. Your brain is a feedback mechanism. So when you do this, you're going to fine tune it over time. So number one, you have to do massive action. So what does that look like? I'm going to say like a deliverable of this stage is going to be, I don't know, how can we accumulate massive action? The amount of hours. How many hours are you spending doing something? So let's put in 100 hours. Now, 100 hours, that's a decent amount of time. How many hours are in a week? 24 times 7, which is 120 is 100 math. 2 times 7, 140, 2 times 24, 48, 188 hours in a week. Am I right? 168. Had to fact check. Okay, so you need to deliver 100 hours. Like, that's your first stage. Now, if you're working on this an hour a day, it's going to take you 3 months to do. If you work on this for 2 hours a day, it's going to take you 45 days, roughly, 46, 47 days to do that. So you need to get 100 hours under your belt, and that needs to just be action of it. Okay. That's your first criteria of your business. And don't worry about doing the absolute most right thing. Just worry about doing something that you think is going to progress your business in the right way. That could be cold calling, building an email list, actually sending things out there, pushing things out there, anything, making social media posts, collaborating with ideas, going out to live events, stuff like that. You're just trying to take action. That's number one. 2, now, once you hit that 100 hours, now we can get into phase 2, pillar 2, milestone 2, whatever you want to call it. It's consistency. So who said this? Well, I did, but a lot of other people say it too. There's so many other people. And you have to have a caveat where you get a little better every day. So, okay, let's go back to that 100 hours, right? You need 100 hours. So you want to build a habit. Build a habit as much as possible. Build a habit. We are run and conditioned by our habits. There's some great books out there like The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. There's also Atomic Habits by, I forget the author. Those are pretty good. They essentially say, though, the same things. There's a cue, routine, and reward. And that's how we develop consistency. That's the secret to developing consistency. Cue, like what's the thing that tells you, oh, okay, I need to do this. So when you wake up, right? When you wake up, you typically know to go brush your teeth before you leave for work or leave out the door or whatever it is. Do you think about brushing your teeth that much? Probably by this point, if you're a healthy human being and you have proper hygiene, no, you don't. You just do it. So building those habits, cue, right? What's the trigger that's like, oh, I need to do something? The routine. That's the actual doing part. That's the action part. Again, going to step 1. I'll give you the power of habit here in real quick. Cue, routine, reward, right? Brushing you get up. So guess what? You got to brush your teeth. And what's your reward? Well, you have good dental hygiene over time. Your breath doesn't stink. Your teeth look white. So on and so forth, right? So you want to lay out all of these different habits, okay? And here, it can be as simple as, okay, we need to get to our 100 hours. So again, we have that deliverable. Gosh, glad I didn't enter any spelling bees. Deliverable of 100 hours, right? So how are we going to get there? Let's move this up so I can write more things. How are we going to get there? When during the day am I going to do this? Am I going to act on this? Right? That's like one of the things. Where, when, where, how, what do I need? What's my space? Do I need people around me? Am I okay in a Starbucks? Do I need to actually go somewhere? Do I need to investigate something? Do I need to whatever? If we're looking at online service business, it's like, okay, do I need to build a website? Okay, what do I need to build a website? Well, I need a computer. I need certain programs. I need a lot of different items in order to do that, right? So you got to answer the when, where, what, how, the why. We missed the why, but I'm assuming in this that you already have some concept and there is a why underlying it because that why is going to carry you through it. So I'm going to leave out the why, when, where, and what. And yeah, I think when, where, and what. Like, this is the meat and the potatoes of how you're going to build these habits to get to that 100 hours, right? Like, for example, what time of the day are you going to work on your business? Okay. I'm going to commit 2 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. Oh, okay, cool. That's a great goal. Where are you going to do it? Right? Where are you going to do it? Well, I don't know where I'm going to do it. If you don't have an answer to these questions, you need to have an answer. Like for my YouTube channel, at least for right now, I know that I have to record X amount of videos per week. I have the lighting, the microphone, the staging all set up. I put my computer here. I set up a couple things. I have a little vocal exercise before I go. I spend a little time crafting something that's valuable for you guys, and then I'm off and running. And that's how we just have that consistency, right? So you need to answer the when, the where, and the what as far as how you're going to get to those 100 hours, right? And if you can do that in a consistent fashion where you can line it up like brushing your teeth, you will nail down consistency. So that's consistency. Let's go to number 3. So to backtrack, we have one massive action, right? And we need to get to a deliverable of 100 hours. Now, this consistency is to get to that first 100 hours, but program when you're going to do it, where you're going to do it, what you're going to be doing, blah, 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 right? Number 3, now we're going to start honing it in. You have 100 hours under your belt. You have some consistent habits of the location where you're going to do it, what you need to be working on. You have some of the kinks laid out. So now we need to focus on the right things. And I'm going to get this from Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey has a great video. I'm going to play it. I'm not going to play it all right now, but it's actually this video. There's a lot of other stuff that you can look up that's very similar, but I mean, this is the best illustration. It's an old video, but Stephen Covey and the Franklin Covey program was really, really effective. And I'm going to skip over some of this stuff now. I'm not going to watch the full video, but basically what he says is he brings this audience member on screen, right? He brings this audience member in front of everybody, and he shows, okay, there's 2 buckets. It's kind of hard to see. There's 2 buckets, right? The first bucket, he shows all these little grains of sand or these little grains of pebbles, and he fills that up. And he's like, here's the time that you're spending, right? And then he fills it up to a certain amount. And then he shows these other big rocks. And the big rocks are really important things like your family, your relationships, your money, your health, all these like really, really core important things. And what he does essentially is he has the audience member, once this is full, tries to, put as many big rocks in there as possible. So what she does is she goes in here and she tries to put all these rocks in, like, oh, I got to put my health and my kids and my family. And what quickly happens is when you try and put the lid on this, because the lid and the overall space of the bucket represents time, when you try and put the lid on it, you can't do anything. Like you can't fit everything in there. And that's his point, right? She's trying to stuff it in here and all this good stuff. And the audience members, they get it. They're laughing. Here, that's a great picture of it. That's basically what it is. Have you ever been like that? Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I fit all this stuff in? I can't physically fit everything in. So what you have to do, what basically he shows is says, all right, cool. So what you're going to do now, you can't fit everything in, right? You can't put the lid on. Let's do it this way. So now, where is it? Now what he basically says is, okay, in the bucket, put your big rocks in first. Okay? Put your big rocks in first. All the important things you do right off the bat. You do them right off the bat. You don't do all the other crap. Then what you do after that is you take all of your other time-consuming items, answering emails, phone calls, this, that, driving, running, this, all this other stuff, and then you put it in afterwards. And then everything, and that fills in the rest of the time. Do you necessarily put everything in here? Do you necessarily put all these beads in this bucket? No, you leave some of them out. You have to, right? But you do accomplish the things that you want to get done. And that's basically what he says. I probably could have watched the whole video in that summation, but it's a really good video. It shows you how to prioritize, and you can literally apply it to anything. You can apply it to any specific circumstance within a video or within a business, within your relationships, whatever. So what you need to do is prioritize, identify your big rocks, right? Identify what those big rocks are. That's once you have like massive action and a method of consistency, you should have in some feedback mechanism of like, okay, what are the most important things that I need to do right now? I need to, make this many calls. I need to make this many things. I need to do all these different things, right? Whatever it is. I need to send this many emails. I need to make this many posts. I need to put these many products online. I need to reach out to these amount of businesses every day. I need to cold call this amount per day. Again, that goes back to those habits, right? Then you can use this consistency and habit programming to help you. And then once you apply these consistency and habit programming on focusing on the right things, right? Maybe you find out that from these 100 hours that you do, there's not a lot of stuff there. But you know that you need to reach out to customers. Well, okay, if you're reaching out to customers, if you're in a service-based business, you need to identify how you're going to do that. And maybe, cold email is the way you do it right off the bat. There's plenty of methods for that, and there's good focuses on that. So just focus on doing that and then prioritize, okay, you need to send 50 emails a day. Like that's just something you need to do. And if that's your most important thing to your business and your lifeline, then that's the thing you do first. So you have to focus your time on the right things. Time is your most scarce, your most important resource. You do not get it back. Money you can get back. You can lose it, you can keep it, you can gain it. Time you don't get back. So what are you going to utilize your time to do the most, right? That's a big, big key. All right, so that's focus on the right things. Let's go into number 4. We're almost through here. Number 4. Now this kind of gets into what we were just talking about, but make goals actions instead of outcomes. I love this one because everyone has, and I'm guilty of it too. I have it like right over there. A vision board, right? Maybe not everybody, but The Secret and Rhonda Burns and a lot of these people will say, "Oh yeah, put your vision board up there and do all this stuff," and it actually does really help. You'd be surprised on how much you can attract in your life. But make goals actions. I love this. That's why I love this stuff because I'm all about the numbers, right? Instead of I want a Porsche, reframe to how many clients do I need to get a Porsche? How much is each client worth to get a Porsche? How many emails do I need to send to get a client? See how you can start to back into your numbers? It's like, oh God, this is the secret. This is the key. It's like, oh, this is exactly what you need to do. This is marketing. This is everything, right? Get the numbers down. I love the numbers. How much money do I need to spend to get to this amount? You have that goal, right? Like if your Porsche is that goal, I want this Porsche, I want this house, or I want whatever it is. How many things do I need to do to get to that, right? How much do I need to do to get to that? And you back in each and every single step. So we're going to take our Porsche example. I want a Porsche to reframe. How many clients do I need to get a Porsche? How much is each client worth to get a Porsche? How many emails do I need to send to get a client? right? And just substitute whatever your desired outcome is with what I put in here. And again, this is just a very, very short 3-step bullet point system, but it works wonders. And I make this number 4 because you've already developed the foundational building blocks that's going to help you get here and do it better. You already know, this is why you have to do it in order. You already know what it is to take massive action, because you're going to, guess what? Once you take massive action, you're going to have to keep taking massive action. You already know what it is to be consistent. You know what it means to say, okay, I got to take massive action, but I'm going to do it this many times per week, and I'm going to get it to this many hours, right? You've already reached that milestone. You already know, by this point, you already know how to focus on the right things, identify your big rocks, you know? And I'm going to say tweak your actions, your action and habits, which is your consistency, accordingly, right? Now we're on to number 4, make goals your actions instead of your outcomes. Obviously, you want to tie an action to an outcome. I think that helps a lot, helps you keep you motivated. It's like, oh my gosh, why am I grinding? Why am I sending all these emails? Oh. But then if you got the vision of the Porsche at the end, which is your vision board, or substitute whatever you want, that's going to be like, all right, cool. I know what I need to do to get there. I just have to do it, so on and so forth. So that's why number 4 is to make goals actions instead of outcomes. When I heard this, I intuitively knew it, but it just makes so much sense. You know, it makes so much sense. Alex Hormozi, the way he put that, he does some great, great stuff. I love it. So that's that example. And then once you do this for a longer period of time, you know, you need to say, okay, my end deliverable was 100 hours, at least in massive action. I mean, people put thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into their business. But when you follow this formula, you're going to do it the right way, right? You're not going to, there's no real shortcut to building a business. I don't care what people say, you know, there really isn't. There's time, sweat, blood, tears, energy, everything into building something. That's just how it goes. And if everybody says there's a shortcut, there's really not. But there are ways to where you can do it faster. And if you follow these principles and commit to this and build yourself and back into it, you will find success, right? So that's number 4. So what is number 5? Okay. So number 5 is saying you already did the massive action. And guess what? You're not done with the massive action. You keep it going, right? You have to keep it going. You know how to be consistent, right? You know what it takes, like the when, the where, the what of getting to your end point. You know how to build those habits. You have built those habits already. You've shown consistency. You work every week, every day, every minute, whatever the time frame is. Maybe not every minute. You know what the right things are in your business. You have a good understanding of what the right things are. This is where some of the information out there in the industry can help you, because a lot of people have probably done what you're doing before. You know, built a marketing company, built an online brand. There's tons of people that do that. One thing I will say before I move on to number 5 on this, there's so much information out there. Pick the one. I'm going to say pick a no more than a few sources of info. There's so much information out there. If you're going to commit to something, you got to pick just 1 to 3 sources of info, and that's it. There's so much content out there that people are trying to sell you stuff to get to the same goal. And then what happens is, and I've fallen into this loop, is like, okay, oh, I'm doing this one. It's not really working. Oh, that one looks so good over there. It's like the grass is greener effect. When in fact, it's really just the same stuff, right? So pick no more than a few sources of information, whether it be YouTube channel, blogging, whatever it is. And how you pick that would be identify, you know, who or what or whatever has that outcome that you're looking for the most. You can see yourself being the most. That's just a short answer way to pick that. So we did that, and we already talked about making your goals actions. And link them to outcomes. I cross out outcomes. You should still have them, but I just wanted to emphasize this action part, right? Make the goals the actions. I need to send 50 emails a day. I need to make 100 calls a day. You got to make it sustainable. Like don't say I'm going to call 1,000 people a day every day for the rest of my life. Well, you're going to psych yourself out real quick. You want to make it sustainable, right? I'm going to put that in here too. Let's see. Make this sustainable. Sustainable shrink. Cool. So that's that. Finally, number 5, eliminate, automate, delegate. I got this from Qasim Aslam, and I think he got it from somewhere else. But this was so awesome when I heard it. I love this. Eliminate, automate, delegate. When you get to higher and higher levels, you're not, maybe as your business grows, you're not going to be able to do everything the same like you once did. You are going to be the cap. Let's say you're hiring people. You're going to have to train them to do the job. And guess what? A majority of the time, they don't quite do the job to exactly where you need them to do it because you're the owner. It's different. It's a founder. But you need to learn to let go. So this is great because when you think like this, especially in the age of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Bard from Google, all these online resources and tools, there are so many different ways where you can eliminate tasks, automate tasks, and delegate tasks. You need to free yourself up as much as possible. You are the business owner. You are the creator. You should not be doing busy tasks. You should get out of it as soon as you can. You know, if you want to designate a little bit of time to doing mundane things, or, you know, it's a dichotomy too, right? Like, okay, as far as services that I offer my clients, I offer them Google Ads, right? So do I run all the campaigns that we have? Well, I did in the beginning, but I don't anymore. It just wouldn't be scalable. How could I see clients? How could I develop new ideas? How could I do all that stuff if I'm monitoring keywords and changing campaign structures and things like that? Now, does that mean I totally isolate myself from the campaigns? No, that isn't. I don't do that. I definitely look at them, and I look at a few accounts and I keep them in mind because I want to make sure I keep with the industry. I want to make sure I'm keeping up with things. So I do that, but I don't make it a huge majority of my day anymore. So I found that is a good dichotomy for me, but that's something that might work for you too. But basically, let's describe this a bit more. Eliminate, automate, delegate. So find, in your day-to-day, identify the tasks that you can get rid of, eliminate. First, you want to see, is there any tasks that I can just get rid of? And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of things we do on a day-to-day basis that you just don't need to do. And the reason why that one's first is because before you automate them or spend time automating them or delegating them, maybe it's not even worth for your team to do either. So you need to identify those tasks, like reading newsletter emails. I don't know, overanalyzing data. I used to be big on that. I used to run myself in circles. Like I would spend hours trying to analyze my client's data, be like, oh, what if we did this? Oh, what if we did that? Da, 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 da. You can't do that. You can't because you just get lost in that and then all your time's gone trying to come up with the perfect solution and this and that. You can't. You just got to come up with a list of what your best solutions are and then know when you need to implement them and move forward. That's one way to do that. So that's eliminating. Identify the things you can eliminate. So again, for me, a lot of that was overanalyzing data. Now what I do, I quickly analyze the data and I have a step system to show, okay, if this is going to go, I use if-then statements. If this is going to go this way, then I'm going to do this. If this goes this way, I'm going to do this. If this goes this way, well, then I'm going to rethink this. And that takes the brain effort away from it. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to think about that. I have a system, I have a program, I have a design to run and execute that happens whenever I, need it. So that's eliminate. Automate. So can I just do things can I give someone some other thing to do things, blah, blah, can I speak? Can I give something else to do something that I need to do without me having to apply effort? So I like ad copy ideas. Anything written, like that's what ChatGPT is for. That's what Bard is for. Is it perfect? No, but it's going to give you ideas. It should make you exponentially better at finding things. You can integrate AI into your emails. You can honestly, one of the biggest examples, I'm going to put ad copy ideas, project management, you know, basically identify the repeating tasks, right? Identify those repeating tasks, because if you have repeating tasks that go through the same motions over and over and over and over and over again that you need to do, but aren't that needs to be done, but you don't effectively need to do, then this is something you can automate for sure. Like if every day you need to change one button color from red to yellow in your project management system, that can be automated. If you need to communicate, like an email, a report notification, that can be automated. If you need to send out a bill at a specific day every month, that can just be automated. Don't worry about it, right? So that's automating, and then delegating, of course. If you're going to run a business, unless you're a very, very unique business, you're going to need some people around you. You're going to need a team, and you're going to need to train them. And honestly, a very simple way to do this is, how much are you worth, or how much is the product that you sell worth, right? Identify how much it's worth, and then compare. How do I say? Calculate how many hours you spend doing that service or product, and then I don't know, this is too complicated, forget this. You need to calculate, gosh, I can't spell. You need to calculate how much you're worth and how much you want to be worth, right? And we all do that we don't all do it this way, but a lot of what we can do is in the essence of time. So when you're delegating, should you be working on, if you're the business owner, should you be working on, like, again, back to big rocks, back to focus on the right things? Should you be working on items like answering emails and making web copy adjustments? Maybe. Or would it be better for you to have as much time as possible freed up, so that way you can think of new ideas and figure out how to move your company forward? And to know when to delegate something is if it needs to be done. You can't automate it, you can't eliminate it, but you don't necessarily need to be the one that does it. Then you should delegate it to someone. And that could be anything. As long as they can do a job that is at least 70 to 80% of the job you would do. Because as the business owner, as the founder, as whatever, you are probably going to care a lot more and do a better job on your business than most of the other people, unless you get some really rare unicorns that are great, or people that just love doing that. No one's going to care about your business as much as you. Sorry, they're just not. So you want to, when you delegate something, expect someone to do 70% to 80% of the quality of the work, and then keep fine tuning and tweaking from there, right? Law of diminishing returns. If you want them to do 100% the quality of the work that you do, good luck finding those people, unless you got a ton of money and then you can pay them. And sometimes even when you do that, you don't really get the results there either. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was a longer video than I expected, but hopefully this provided some good value. So let me just kind of recap. First, 5 most valuable tips of starting, running, and maintaining a business. This is really starting, running, maintaining, and scaling, but the 5 in order. I'm going to starting, running, and maintaining. Yeah. The 5 in order: massive action. You need to generate a lot of action. Just start. Deliverable there is 100 hours. 2, consistency. You need to build proper habits. You need to do things consistently every day, every week, whatever that means. The quicker you can do it, the better. Again, that's back up to massive action. How are you going to go? How are you going to get there? When, where, and what, right? How are you going to get to the first 100 hours, and how are you going to do the next 100, next 100, next 100? You want to focus on the right things. Once you get the massive action and consistency down, you got to focus on, okay, now we need to fine tune the system. We need to fine tune the system and prioritize what are the most meaningful impacts to our business in order to grow, scale, and service well, and do those. After that, you want to make your goals tied directly to your actions, not necessarily your outcomes. You can have your outcomes and actions linked, but again, it's focusing on that action and making your goals the actions. I need to send this many emails. I need to put out this many YouTube videos. I need to do this many posts, what have you. And then finally, once you get to all these phases, you want to eliminate, automate, and delegate as much as possible. So identifying things to eliminate would be things that you just don't need to do. Cool, don't do them anymore. Automate, things you need to do that someone else could do, that you could do, but are just repeating and have like a very similar instance. Like anytime something happens, this is going to happen. Just automate it. And then delegating. That's identifying things you can do, you have done, but you don't necessarily need to do because your time is, again, focused on those big rock items, delegate it to somebody else. So those are the 5 most valuable tips from starting, running, and maintaining a business. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next videos. Thank you so much. Peace out.